What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I find it comforting.
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. It would have been a beautiful painting. It's rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. It's unlike her to leave paint on the brush.
I think we'll give her a pass, given the circumstances.
Ah, yes. So we shall. Looks like Freya's paints.
Do you know why the pots are cracked down one side?
No, that's very odd. They're normally in excellent condition.
You seem pretty sure about that. Does Flora normally keep something in here?
She must do, but I admit I've never managed to work out what.
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody keeps something locked away in a ceramic egg, it's because they don't want to be asked about it.
Rules to live by.
Where did you find that?
It was in the library.
Really? How odd. That's one of Freya's paintings, is it not? It's impressive, but a little miserable for my tastes. Freya was quite the talent. She had a way of capturing the spirits of her subjects. Not in an evil way, in a good way. My daughter Fiona and her best friend, they grow up so fast.
Do you know why it's ripped like that?
Ah, yes. I didn't even notice. No idea. Why would someone lock up a book like that?
We think it's a secret diary.
Aha! Teenagers are funny, aren't they? Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise.
That's a massive conch shell. Do you think this little
I hope so.
puffer?
Yes, it's also a lamp. A hammock.
I would politely describe it as...
A lot of redundant light sources in here.
It's Earth.
If Earth was made of paper and gave off a gentle pink light. It's a drinking horn.
Is it full of ale?
Right now, it's just full. You get a good view of the lake from here. Nice.
How do you know
Why
that?
else? Plus, there's a treasure map hanging. What's the deal with that painting?
Not sure. We should check that treasure map, too.
Nothing.
Did you check the treasure map? And what about that painting on the chest?
Still locked.
I think like there are different versions.
There we go.
Perfect. What was in the box?
More wooden. These are a little different to the one on the desk. A little hand-painted stuff.
How can you tell?
Well, also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell. The entire room is.
Oh, it's not just. I think it's the actual hull of a ship.
A little hand-painted.
How can you
Well,
tell?
also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell.
It's a barometer.
I've never seen a barometer that wasn't.
What is it?
He's an imp.
What does he?
Well, if you tell too many lies, he appears.
Oh. A pencil drawing.
Mood. The entire room.
Oh, it's not just. I think it's the actual hull of a ship. It's locked.
Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother's not been in the library for some time. I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever. There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz. This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third. A book. My book.
And what's in it?
Pages. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh yes, it has a telescopic lens. It can only be used for looking at things that are far away. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint.
Hanging baskets.
To you, maybe.
You're only 2 inches.
2 inches makes all the difference.
That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have tools used by a gardener for gardening.
Sally, don't move.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything? Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Right, sorry.
Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fitzfellow, the gardener.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
I don't know.
You work here as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it. It's just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house? Yeah, I clocked it.
The color is just a byproduct.
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous. Not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet. Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants, animals eat the plants. Anything you've perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like, condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA. Sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation?
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No. I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later. She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And?
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
Did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then, it wasn't. I can't describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We?
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent. I like Flora. I hope she's all right.
Do you think she had anything to do with the murder?
There's no way. She wouldn't willingly cause any additional suffering for anyone. Felix is a contradiction. His loyalties are placed firmly within the realm of materialism, money, property. But his ego relies on an entirely fraudulent self-image, don't you think?
I was just about to say the same thing.
Fifi doesn't like me.
What did you do?
I'm not sure. If you find out, maybe you can let me know. She questioned me.
About what?
My work, the plants, bit of everything.
Did she search the greenhouse?
No, She didn't.
You sure? Maybe she did it when you weren't in there.
No, she hasn't touched it.
How can you tell?
Trust me. I can tell. She was always kind to me. She'd come into the greenhouse when I was working, sometimes by herself, sometimes with Poppy. I think they were just bored at first. Eventually, they started asking questions.
About what?
Poppy wanted to learn about flowers. Freya, she used to ask me about the insects.
Insects?
One of my jobs is to protect plants from things that might eat them. Freya brought me this little glass box, leaves and twigs inside. She'd say, put all the troublemakers in there. Every day I'd put a handful of beetles and other things in the box. Then she'd come along and take it away. I didn't really understand her, but she was always kind.
Have you met this guy, Fitz? Shifty eyes, doesn't say a lot. Totally suspicious, if you ask me.
That's me.
Yeah, it was a joke. I was joking.
Oh, I see. Felix made that? Huh. That's quite sweet, really.
You ever seen this before, Fitz?
No, but I don't normally go into Fifi's room.
That's not where we found it.
Oh, I just thought it looks like it belongs to her. Looks like someone doesn't want you to read that book.
That's the main thing making me want to read it.
It's Fifi and Freya.
Don't you think Poppy should be in the photo too?
Maybe, maybe not. She doesn't really like crowds.
2 people isn't a crowd.
Right, but if she was in the photo, then it'd be 3.
Checkmate.
Fitz, one of these drawings is of you, in the rooftop garden, I think, with Poppy.
Mm-hmm. Are we done? Freya's best work, in my opinion. Although, the photo doesn't carry the same energy as the real thing.
What do you think it's a painting of?
What do you mean?
Like, what's the subject matter? What's that big red thing?
Oh, I don't think it's that kind of painting. Penelope knows about birds. You should ask her instead.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about something. There's a plant mentioned on this page, see? Do you have any? In the greenhouse?
No, I don't grow that anymore. I've tried, in the past. It's incredibly difficult, even for me. I could never get it to live more than a couple of weeks. It's an egg, with feet.
It was locked, but we opened it, but it was empty.
Fun story. Paints are different to flowers.
I'd say so, yeah.
At any time, flowers can bloom with perfect, faultless colors. Red, blue, white. With paint, once you've tainted a color by mixing it with others, not even the most skilled painter can return it to its pure form. There's something off about this.
What is it?
Why don't you take another look at Flora's room?
You think we missed a clue up there?
Not exactly. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. That belongs to Poppy.
So why is it up in Flora's tower?
I'm not sure. That belongs to Poppy.
So why is it up in Flora's tower?
I'm not sure.
What do you think that is in Flora's
I
hand?
don't know. It does look like a knife, but Flora wasn't holding anything at all when I saw her. After There's something bothering. When we went into Flora's room, she wasn't standing.
Well, she probably
She
would've.
wasn't standing at all. She was kneeling on the floor.
What do you think that is in Flora's?
I don't know. It does look like a knife, but Flora wasn't holding anything at all. There's something
What?
bothering. When we went into Flora's room, she wasn't standing in this position.
Well, she probably
She
would've.
wasn't standing at all. She was kneeling on the floor. It's of no interest to me, but I overheard Poppy and Freya talking about it once.
What were they saying?
They were arguing about something, but I can't remember the details. That looks like it might belong. Who gave you that information?
We don't actually know who it was. We were contacted anonymously.
I see. And what happens if the person who contacted you turns out to be the murderer?
I never thought about that.
Honestly, that would be kind of fun. Like a twist, you know?
Nice painting. Gives you a pretty good idea of the layout.
The lake looks like it forms a perfect circle around the island.
It might seem strange to you, but nature is quite capable of producing perfectly geometric forms.
And those mountain cliff things around the outside?
We don't know much about them. They're unscalable. Not even Freya could have gone up there.
What's that?
This painting, it's speculative. There are no photographs from this angle as far as I know.
So Freya just made it up.
Let's call it an informed estimation.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the
This could be interesting. An empty glass.
Looking at it is
Why?
I don't know.
Huh.
They're just decorative.
Oh, so decorative. It's a little handmade. Inside it says, "To Fitz from PP."
That poor plant.
Looks pretty
healthy. I think it would rather be outside. Hello.
Not hidden.
Doesn't need to be. It's a combination lock, sort of. I did it.
Not bad. Anything in there?
Yeah, it's wrapped in a cloth. That's kind of ominous. Quit sulking. Not every room is going to be full of clues.
It's locked.
I thought we were halfway.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
Nothing.
The tiles have all got that same.
Those moon symbols.
Maybe they're connected, but also not.
Nope.
Maybe the information we
So where is it?
somewhere else. Let's come back once we.
What is
I
that?
think it's a family tree. Fitzfellow.
We met him. He's one of the suspects.
I
Primrose?
always liked the name.
Do you think she still lives here?
Percival Pointer. He married into the Remington family.
Do you think he still lives here?
Penelope
Half pointer, half...
Do you think she still lives here? Pretty.
Stairs?
A little chart of. Actually, I have no idea what it's about.
What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot.
This one's another...
Okay, that is definitely.
Looks like a gemstone, don't you think?
This is a good example of how things work. I mix that soil here in the greenhouse. It's made with water from the lake.
And it makes the fruit grow all shiny and gemstony.
Sometimes, you never really know what's going to happen.
And what do you do with this shiny, inedible fruit?
You look at it.
This is yours, Fitz?
Yeah,
Do you use it?
I keep all my tools in the greenhouse.
That wasn't what she asked.
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes, soil. Dislikes, electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So, what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. That blade.
It's a troll for gardening.
It is. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless. Unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends
On what?
on the structural integrity of your teeth.
Locked.
There must be some way to get it open.
Shh, listen. Do you hear them? The stars. They're whispering. So quiet, and yet so loud.
What are they whispering about? Are they spreading rumors about us?
I shouldn't think they concern themselves with such insignificance. We are but specks of dust, you and I.
Mm-hmm. Could this speck of dust start by telling me his name?
You find yourself standing in the astronomy tower of one Professor Percival Pointer.
Seems like this tower belongs to the Pointers, and the other one belongs to the Fellows.
Well observed, my dear. Tangle Tower is something of a duality, as it happens. Meaningless boundaries, really. They exist only in our minds.
Helpful. So, which one is Tangle Tower?
What's that?
There are 2 towers, right? Flora's Tower and your astronomy tower.
Neither? Truly, I have no idea. You'd have to ask Flora.
She named the house?
The whole thing is a result of her squabbling with her family.
With Felix, you mean? Her husband?
No, her brother and sister, and her father. The Remington family was a rather tumultuous little unit, you see. I don't think Flora has spoken with any of them in over a decade. Not exactly a wealth of information, is it?
It's enough.
Isn't the process of decay fascinating?
It's not really decaying. It's plastic.
It's becoming one with nature, all the same. A very old statue indeed. I'd recommend you leave it well alone. The poor fellow's in bad enough shape as it is. I find that painting to be in rather bad taste.
Oh, yeah?
The knife with real blood on it? The whole thing is rather vulgar. Pointer property originally, purloined by the Fellows. Typical. I haven't seen that tape for a long time. Who broke it?
No idea.
Ah, well, possessions are fleeting, my friends. Here's a thought. Do you suppose the paintbrush could be the murder weapon? After all, it was found at the scene, right next to Freya's body.
I guess it's possible.
Is this important?
Possibly.
Curious little thing, isn't it? Do you know what she keeps in there?
Nothing. At the moment. It was empty when we opened it.
How bizarre.
Can't a woman keep an empty egg in her room?
That's a very old book, isn't it? Looks like someone could have taken better care of it.
I like the look of a well-read book. Better than one that's never been opened.
Ah, well put. Freya was well acquainted with the abstract, I'll say that much.
What does it look like to you?
To me, it's a big, red thing.
What a fascinating interpretation.
He's right, though. It is a big red thing.
These were drawn by Freya? She must have drawn that one of Hawkshaw rather recently.
I guess.
Poppy's 2 closest friends. Freya looks so innocent there. A diary can be a wonderful outlet for an outpouring of one's soul.
How do you know it's a diary?
I suppose I don't, but it does look like a diary. What's this?
It looks like it might be a telescope. Thought you might know something about it.
Well, it certainly is a telescope. It has a part there to screw onto a tripod, you see. It's rather small, though. I'm not sure you could see many stars with it.
No, probably not.
This looks a little rushed, even by Felix's standards.
At least he tried.
Yes, I suppose it's good for the old fellow to have a hobby. Keeps his mind from decaying, you know. This is supposed to be Felix, is it?
I think so.
I see he's afforded himself considerable artistic license. Oh, you found a murder weapon?
Steady on. It's just a gardening trowel.
Looks like a weapon to me. Fitz seems rather keen to grow things like this in his greenhouse, doesn't he?
What's wrong with that?
Well, you can't eat it. Makes you wonder why he bothers at all. I don't especially want to talk about myself. Introspection often leads to vanity.
Wait, does it?
Why don't we discuss the moons of Jupiter instead?
I'm not sure if we have time. Aren't there like 10 of them?
83.
Yeah, we don't have time.
What do you want me to say? He's the gardener.
He's a member of the family.
Yeah, but not the Pointer family.
What happened to his parents, do you know?
His father, Flint, is Felix's brother. Strange man. Don't think anybody knows what happened to him, but he certainly doesn't live here anymore.
What about his mother?
Emily? I've not met her. She never actually married into the fellow family. Her relationship with Flint was, it was short-lived. Nobody could deny her talent. She was remarkable, artistically gifted, but also highly intelligent.
Those two things aren't mutually exclusive, you know.
Was she ever interested in astronomy?
I don't think she was. The fault may well lie with me for failing to inspire her. But I think she was captivated by more tangible things here on Earth. My daughter loved her. Fiona, too. That said, in the last year or so, more and more I've begun to notice her by herself, wandering the gardens at the most peculiar hours. She must have explored every inch of the grounds 100 times over. Quite a restless spirit, I think. I'm surprised she chose to live at Tangle Tower as long as she did. Hard to read, that one, but she seems to know what she's doing.
She's kind of mean.
You know, I simply assumed all detectives were sharp, rigorous, and thorough. Then, of course, I met you. Ah, yes, the heiress of Tangle Tower. Goodness knows what'll happen when she takes charge. I dare say she'll confiscate my telescope and replace it with a microscope.
She doesn't seem to be the type to impress her will on others.
Still, keep an eye on her. Dangerously intelligent, that one.
You sound jealous. Wait, are you two science rivals?
Oh no, we operate on very different wavelengths. Literally. He should learn to make the most of his lot in life. And he does have a lot in life.
You're talking about money?
Among other things, but yes, he currently has agency over a small fortune. That is, if he hasn't already squandered it or lost it.
You two don't get on?
Oh no, we're the best of friends. A listless soul drifting through the ether.
What's wrong with her?
Not sure. She's always been troubled. Comes from a dysfunctional family. I'd say you could ask her about it, but I think you might find that to be a bit of a dead end. Me? Not much to say. Strictly speaking, I'm the current head of the Pointer family. And of course, father to my precious Poppy.
And a professional astronomer?
Oh no, that's just a little hobby. I mean, yes, I've studied the stars for over 35 years, published 17 books.
Just a little hobby.
Sounds like you're quite well known. You must bring in a good amount of money.
Oh, dear me, no. My field of research has never yielded any kind of stable financial return, nor would I expect it to. I am nothing but a humble interpreter for the cosmos, working to translate its message so that I may share it with the world.
Cool. Tell the cosmos I say hi.
The day began as any other, with blissful, unremarkable routine. I took my usual morning walk around the gardens. Fresh air does wonders for the mind.
Did you see anyone else?
Penelope and Fitz were in the greenhouse together. I didn't bother them, of course. I sat for a while besides the pond in the garden. It's a favorite spot of mine. Eventually, I returned to my tower and buried myself in my studies for the afternoon.
Did you use your telescope yesterday?
Once the stars began to appear, naturally.
For how long?
I can't say. I've been known to lose hours at my telescope.
Did you see anything?
No actual discoveries, if that's what you mean.
So you were all alone up in the astronomy tower. Must have been a while before you found out what had happened to Freya.
Quite. Normally, I would be the last to find out about such a thing. But a curious tug of fate led me towards the fellow tower later that evening. I was at my telescope for the majority of the evening, but at one point I returned to my desk to look something up in a reference book. I couldn't find the book I wanted, so I figured Fiona must have borrowed it. I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall. I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library. She looked impatient and slightly frustrated.
Same as ever then?
Quite. I passed her by and went upstairs to Fiona's room. The door was locked, but I could hear shouting coming from inside. I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter. I had no desire to invade their privacy by eavesdropping, so I waited for them to finish and come out into the hall. Before I could ask about the book, Poppy grabbed my hand and took me upstairs along with Fiona. It was apparent that both of them had already been crying about something. We went up to Flora's tower. Freya was laying on her back, right in the middle of the room. Flora and Fitz were already there. They both looked stoic as ever. Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did, and then Fiona went downstairs with Poppy for some reason. I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
Why did you leave so quickly? Wasn't there anything you could have done to help?
Don't take this the wrong way, but the whole ordeal is fellow family business. I'm quite sure they don't need me getting in the way at a time like that.
It's full of tea.
Criminal.
It's a chart of which planet are you? It's a chart of which planet are you? A picture frame.
With no picture.
It's tidier than mine. The notebook.
So? Even the most well-used notebooks started.
It's tidier than notebook.
So? Even the most well-used notebooks.
Trinkets.
They're clearly gizmo.
A bell jar.
What do people
Other
normally...
than bells, you mean?
It's also daytime.
Every astronomy.
I want to try.
You can see right into.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's behind her is the backside of the easel, holding Freya. I can't really see anything behind it. Not from this end. I can just about see the ground.
It's that little
Don't you
plant.
think it would fall off?
Maybe it's glued down.
I can see the door. The door itself is on the floor, knocked off its hinges.
Is that a window?
I think
Is there another room?
we should check that next time we're over there. You can
Not
see.
by
I can see behind her. I can't really see. Isn't this supposed to be an I'm pretty sure you
Can't move it. I think this is just how it's set up.
It's too.
It's also daytime. You know,
a.
I would look at it.
Wait a minute. Earth in the middle. Sun on the outside. How old is this thing? Nothing.
So there are two ways to move the shadows. Rotate the planets and rotate the sun and moon.
I guess that's...
I think you just need to get the shadows to line up with the shape on the base.
I got it.
I'm impressed. Did you hear that?
There's a little
A bunch of paper. Looks like somebody's research. There's something kinda... I just
Oh,
expected...
does it not compare to all?
There's something kinda... just
Oh, does it not compare?
What
Ah,
is it?
it's large.
You're not wrong. Someone painted
Do you
up.
think it was
No
done?
idea. Either way, it's pretty suspicious.
Just dusty junk. Just dusty junk.
What's in that little box? I bet it's bones. A skull, at least.
Maybe I won't open it. It's a statue standing up straight.
You know, there's a name for that.
I know.
It's not quite as Also, it's
not-
stuffed. It's a jar. The head screws on.
Huh. What is that?
Not sure.
Looks like it might attach to something. Just dusty junk.
At least the moths are kept well fed. At least the moths are kept well fed. Where's that light coming
That's
from?
just daylight. There's a decent gap between. Is that what I think it is? Is that what I think it is?
Where's that light coming
That's
from?
just daylight. There's a decent gap between those floorboards.
Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude!
Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am alive.
Ah,
That makes you a suspect, I'm afraid.
I know.
what's your name?
My name is Poppy. I'm a pointer. And a pianist.
We'll need to ask you a few questions about Freya.
I know.
Hey, you're pretty good.
All in the wrist. And 13 years of dedicated practice.
Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude!
Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am.
Ah,
I know.
what's your name?
My name is Emma.
We'll need to ask
I
you.
know.
Hey,
All in the... and 13. I'm just me.
How are you related to
My
the...
father is Percival Pointer. Spends most of his time hidden. He speaks to anyone these
Do
days.
you get on with the fellows?
Two of them. Fifi and Freya. We all turned 19.
do people ever leave? I don't mean to be rude.
You don't have to answer that, Poppy.
It's a fair question. I'd like Fifi, Freya, and I would argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but things are more complicated.
What about now?
After what happened, I really don't want to stay here. 3.5 hours of piano practice.
3.5. There's-
Sure.
And you do this?
No, I prefer to practice it. When I make mistakes, I like to.
What did you do after that?
I was supposed to meet Fifi in the library. When I finally got down there, I checked her bedroom, but it was locked.
Was Fifi not in there?
No idea. So I went back upstairs and out into the moon.
What?
The little garden on the roof outside my room.
Was it just you up there?
No. Fitz came outside after a while. His room's on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers.
So, did
Not really.
You ignored each other.
I didn't say that. Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal, but different. I was pretty sure it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were so I made Fitz kick down the door. I went inside. Freya was lying on the floor.
Flora was in the room too?
Yeah. I think she realized what had happened at the same moment I did. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually, she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see she'd already been crying. I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry. First time I've ever seen her angry. I dragged her out into the hall. My father was there too, for some reason. The three of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test. She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes. After she was done, she went back upstairs and I went back to my room.
That's it?
That's it. Hard of head, but free of mind. Unimprisoned, unconfined. With starry eyes, she sees beyond. Behind our walls, beneath our pond. A soul untied, it's hers, it's free. Was then, is now, will ever be. Between the lips a silver spoon, a story written all too soon. The chosen dwelling of her heart, unjustly chosen to depart. Lost her liberation lays in the center of a maze. Softly does the flower grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way. That's me. I'm on a list of murder suspects. Always thought that would be kinda cool, but it's just tedious.
Falls a little short, doesn't it?
Foregone drifter, holding fast. Days as shadow seeker past. Is it bravery or surrender? Accepting that your world will render nothing darker than the gloom. Some four walls make around a room. Eavesdrop what the stars are saying. Earthly tether, slowly fraying. Floating, helpless from the worst of jealous hunger, selfish thirst. Take a moment, kneel and meet the flowers growing at your feet. With surging tide, the waves are thrown, an entity of all its own. But on its surface you may see, reflected in the waters be, the orchestrator, pale and still, pulling strings, enacting will. Needless noise from tongues expel, unless within the mouth they dwell. The spoken word, unfit for dealing with the shifting form of feeling. Stand unblinking in the face of taciturn and soundless space.
So there are two families living in...
3 pointers and 5 fellows. 4 fellows.
What's the connection between them?
There isn't one. Not really. It was all built by the Remington family. Flora is a Remington, originally. So was Primrose, my mother. She married into the Pointers, and Flora married into the Fellows.
So the Fellows and the Pointers own the house now?
Flora owns the house. Depending on who you ask, that means her husband Felix owns it too.
What about your father?
His claim over the house kind of fell apart after my mother left.
Where's your mother now?
No idea. There's something I noticed about Freya's knife wound.
Hit me.
From what we could tell, The blade went in at an exact right angle, perpendicular to Freya's body. And there's only one small pool of blood. Nothing on Freya's hands, or anywhere else. The whole thing is just a little too peaceful. This is mine.
Really?
No, well, yes, it was. I gave it to Freya about a year ago.
What was on it?
Nothing. It was blank. Freya said she wanted to record something.
Any idea how it ended up underwater?
Maybe someone wanted to destroy it, but got really lazy.
What do you make of the statue?
I know that's the only harp in the whole of Tangle Tower. I've never actually seen a real one.
Maybe it's from before your time.
Oh, definitely. You see how old this statue is?
What about the symbols? One of them looks like piano keys.
Yeah, weird. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Flora was holding a knife with blood on the tip.
You don't think that anymore?
No, it was a stupid thing to say. The room was dark. I was in shock. I'm just an idiot.
But it was blood on the tip. If you hadn't said anything, maybe Fifi wouldn't have checked.
Exactly. It's stupid.
But we would have missed out on an important clue.
Is it a clue? Really? Tell me how it's a clue. Tell me how it helps. Nothing about the knife makes any sense. It's just freaking everyone out. Wish I'd never said anything. It was my mother's originally.
So, why is it up in Flora's room?
She just gets the most use out of it. Freya would borrow it too sometimes.
Does this belong to you, Poppy?
Now that's not really my style, is it?
But who else would own a tape like this?
Literally anybody? Freya would always load up the palette with all the exact colors she was gonna need. I think it helped her zone out and focus on the actual painting itself. Like getting all your sheet music lined up before playing a long piece.
Right. So the blob of black paint in the middle, that was for painting Flora?
Flora's dress, yeah. She wears even more black than I do. Why is the glass cracked down one side?
Natural wear and tear, maybe?
No way. Freya took good care of her stuff. What was inside?
Nothing.
Huh. That belongs to Flora, I think. I think everybody sees something different.
Did Freya ever tell you what she saw in it?
Not exactly. She said something about it being from a recurring nightmare.
Sorry, but if it was from a nightmare, why would you paint it and leave it in front of your bed?
Maybe she wanted to take control of it. Giving something a physical form can make it easier to deal with. Well, sometimes. Hey, that's me. Not a bad likeness.
It looks like you're standing in a rose bush.
Is there something wrong with that?
This is a photo of Fifi and Freya, right?
Yeah,
How come you're not in it? You're friends with them too, aren't you?
I'm not really one for photographs.
Fifi looks like she really admires Freya.
Fifi's loyalty to Freya is unshakable. Is that Fifi's diary? I'm sure I've seen it in her room before.
That's where we found it.
Have you ever read it? Do you know what's written in there?
Nope. I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate me invading her privacy.
I thought you and Fifi were close friends.
Yeah, we are. It's just Fifi's gotten kinda impatient with me recently.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure she'd tell you if you asked.
Oh, she would. She'd give it to me straight. Probably why I've been avoiding it. Did you find that in Fifi's room?
No? Should we have?
No, it's just... It looks like something she'd use, don't you think? Is that supposed to be Flora?
Possibly.
Oh, how nice. Whose paints are those?
They belong to Felix, I think.
Is that a gardening trowel?
Yeah. I think it belongs to Fitz.
Really? Huh, never seen him use it. Oh, you've been to the greenhouse? What did you think?
Impressive, I guess. but kind of unsettling with Fitz lurking in the shadows the whole time.
Yeah, he does that. You get some weird insects around here, but I've never seen one like that.
I'm not sure anyone has.
Freya might have. She used to keep beetles in a box in her room.
Why?
For fun, obviously. Where did you find this?
It was in the attic.
Oh, huh. I forgot we even had an attic.
All right, Poppy's
I wonder
bedroom.
what's in there. There's something about that diary we found in Fifi's room. Something.
Let's ask her about it.
Is this your diary, Fifi? We found it in your bedroom.
Of course it is mine. Ridiculous question.
Why is it locked up like that?
You seriously require an explanation. Very well. A fairly common concept, the so-called secret diary, is favored in particular by girls between the ages of 10
So, there are secrets written in here?
This particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
It's not a diary at all.
I'm not sure about that.
Me neither.
This particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
It's Fifi's diary, and she has written in it.
I'm not sure about that.
Me neither.
This particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
It's somebody else's diary.
How could you arrive at that conclusion? It is kept in my bedroom. It is mine.
We need a clue to compare with the diary. Something to prove who the original owner was. Let's take a closer look at this. This blue book is somewhat similar to the secret diary, which proves it belonged to Freya. Almost. Maybe just... This blue book is the same thing as the secret diary, which proves it belonged to Freya.
You were hiding Freya's diary in your room, and you kept it locked, too.
Why would I do either of these things?
Fifi didn't want anyone to see a secret letter within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. Fifi destroyed a secret letter within Freya's diary. Nope. Fifi didn't want anyone to see drawings within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just change. Fifi didn't want anyone to see paintings within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just... Fifi didn't want anyone to see Poppy within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just... Fifi didn't want anyone to see sheet music within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just... Fifi didn't want anyone to see drawings within Freya's diary. Almost. Maybe just... Fifi didn't want anyone to see personal secrets within Freya's diary.
Is this true, Fifi?
I know Freya was your friend, but if you're trying to hide something...
You did not know Freya, so this might be difficult to understand. She did her own thing, in her own way. By concealing Freya's written accounts, it is simply my intention to preserve her innocence.
Innocence?
Might be easier if you just let us read the diary, Fifi.
Very well. I will open it. However, as you read it, please remember, Freya was the most kind and the most wise person I have ever known.
All right, Fifi.
Finally. What's in there?
Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh, yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Now, this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate.
Is this yours, Fifi?
I do not recognize it. And besides, I would have no use for such a thing. Perhaps it could be used to hang wet laundry?
Was that a joke?
Yes.
Are they...
Whatever they are, it's like a little parade of floaties.
Are they...
Whatever they are, like a little parade of floaties.
Who plays the violin?
It's pretty. So I'm guessing nobody.
Oh, whatever it is.
Well, it is. It's gotta
What's
practice.
with all the broken glass? Oh, whatever it is.
Well, it is. Gotta
What's
practice.
with all the broken glass? Sheet music.
That's a lot of
Probably while they're on the floor. 1,
Yep.
25,
Mhm.
4.
Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing the problem? It's one of those big
Don't
pianos.
touch it.
Why not?
Might be haunted.
There's a
When I
faded...
was a kid, I never knew that.
You still don't know, do you?
No.
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right?
Sorry?
Your hair, dear! Which shade do you use? It's lovely! In that shape, you're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there. Crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That, and he has a great deal of work to do every day. Watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. 20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel? Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I'd call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him! Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, don't you know? My fiancé, dear Fitz. He's not really the traveling type, you see.
Fitz Fellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family? That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our two families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. Oh, did Fitz show you that?
Not exactly.
We found it hidden under his bed.
Ah, right. Freya was very talented, even at that age.
Do you know how old this photo is?
Not sure. Must be a couple of years at least. Sometime before Fiona settled on her current style. If I'm not mistaken, that little red and white one is supposed to be a bird of some kind. A bit vain to carve wooden figurines of oneself, isn't it? Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. Not a fan of insects myself. Whose research is this?
We were hoping you might know.
No, can't say I... Freya, perhaps. I know she was always very fond of grubby little things like this.
Noted.
Is that for sewing?
Maybe?
We have no idea.
Haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he?
Currently.
You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that.
Not to you?
Try living in it for 20 years. The sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my Fitz, I'd have little reason to stay.
What about inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you?
Well, thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will pass down directly to Poppy.
Is that fair?
I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest. Finally! I get to see a detective's case file.
That's a very specific thing to be excited about.
Well, only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes.
I'm guessing she said no.
Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being, what was it? A shallow sensationalist. Goodness me. Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she?
It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden.
Exactly! Hardly the place for it. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. Don't remember anything about him playing the harp, though. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling, don't you think? It's Flora that's the problem. She's an inescapably haunting presence, bless her. Poppy's gramophone. She's had it for a long time. As a young child, she'd call it her mama phone, on account of it belonging to her mother.
That's cute.
Oh yes, adorable. How terrible.
You recognize it?
The color scheme. 3 different pinks. Obscene. Oh, that's rather sad. Freya doesn't take very good care of her paints, does she? But then she was always rather bohemian, had her own priorities. Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seems very fond of it. I've never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband.
Heyo!
Somebody taking an interest in extinct animals.
Extinct.
Oh, yes. The book is very old. Most of the birds in it are long gone.
Well, what about this bird, though? The ink dip.
This one? Well, it was thought to be extinct for a long time. Then one was found here at Tangle Tower.
So it's not extinct.
You misunderstand. It was the last one. The very last.
Oh.
I know a lot of people rather like this painting, but it's a little much for me. I find it overbearing. And for some reason, it makes me feel bad for Freya. I think she was more troubled than we knew. Very nice.
You've seen these before?
Yes.
All of them. Even this one of...
Yes. Ooh, a secret diary.
That's our guess, too.
Excellent. I don't know what that is. Oh, did you talk to Poppy already?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you make any notes of what she told you?
Yeah, I did.
Lovely. Burn them. It'll all be lies.
Why would Poppy lie to us?
Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too.
Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny?
She started it. Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. She'd sit in the aviary, first thing in the morning, and paint the birds. Sometimes she'd ask me their names.
Freya was interested in studying bird species too?
No, just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, Lysandre, Genevieve.
Got it, thanks.
For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring, with their names written underneath. I can't begin to tell you how much I've treasured it.
Sounds like you two were close.
I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her, but she had a way of understanding unspoken things. Oh, she's beautiful! Who is she? Wait, is that me? Can't say I've ever taken an interest in Uncle's astronomy. On occasion I've dared to visit him in his tower, but I always regretted. It's all just a little too abstract for me.
What do you mean?
Oh, did you know the sun is apparently over 400,000 miles wide? Okay, so what should I do with that information? How does it help me?
Don't look at me. You're the one who memorized it.
She mostly ignores me, if I'm honest.
How come?
Well, we're not quite on the same intellectual level.
Oh, Well, you don't need to.
No, no. It's quite all right. I'm comfortable with it. I must say, I really don't care for the den of self-delusion that he's retreated into. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. She's a most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance.
Which part? The giant bird arms, or...
If I were her, I'd go easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself.
Professor Pointer? Why him?
Oh, it was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her.
Are you friends with Flora?
A little bit.
A little bit friends.
She's one for the peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her.
I can see that.
I do admire her, though, really. Always felt like she could have done better than settle for Felix.
Ouch.
I said it. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
We can get into Penny's room.
Now, like, right. That's all the
Let's go over them all. That bed. It's like something from a fairy tale.
Does it feel warm?
No, you're right.
It's not coming from the bed. It's coming...
A little tea set.
One of the cups
What's
is
in the other one?
birdseed. It's a birdhouse.
Are those real? Nope.
They're using up all the perches. What if a real bird...
No, that was it.
Nice work. Did the door open?
Traveling case.
Empty. All of them.
That's something.
There's something that just feels out of place.
Ever get the feeling?
The mannequins don't have eyes.
That's not. That might be the most point. What's those little?
I think they're there for doing.
My little writing.
There's nothing written in the book. I don't like mirrors.
How do you get?
I do it by weight. I can feel if one side is heavier than the other. They're bird cages. But the birds are...
Is that a metaphor?
Oh, it totally is. Check out that butterfly.
Looks evil.
Wow, judgmental.
And
And it's home to 3 especially fancy birds.
I must say the girls are awfully well behaved today. I think they know we're in the presence of company.
They belong to you? Why do you keep them in a cage?
They need a special diet, particular treatment. I let them out to fly occasionally, of course. But they're all one of a kind. I couldn't let anything happen to them.
Do they have names?
Of course. Let me introduce you to Tabitha, Tamara, and Tatiana.
I've already forgotten all 3 of those names.
Which one is which?
Oh, that's simple. Tatiana is the oldest, Tabitha is the most patient, and Tamara has the best sense.
Glad we cleared that up.
What about the one on your head?
On my head? He's just my hat. He doesn't have a name. Who would name their hat? Yes, it's my...
You don't like it?
I'm no good at caring for plants. Birds are much easier.
Do you at least?
The look?
The colors? Between you and me.
That's,
We found it in your room.
just lying around.
Nope. You'd hidden it.
We do that.
Who's the her in the message?
It's really none of your business.
There's something about the report of Fitz going up Pointer Tower. Something.
Let's ask him about it.
So, Fitz, I have a report that you were seen sneaking up Pointer Tower. Holding a knife.
That's not right. I don't go into Pointer Tower. I don't own a knife. And I don't sneak. Was it Fifi who told you this?
How did you know that?
A guess. She doesn't like me very much. But yeah, she was mistaken. Maybe she wasn't wearing her eye lens thing.
What do you think, Grimoire?
Fifi did see Fitz, but he was holding something else.
So, if it wasn't a knife, what was it?
What about this?
Ah, that.
Is it yours?
It was a gift. It's sentimental. I have no reason to take it up Pointer Tower. I don't use it at all.
Fitz is the only thing that can destroy a potted flower in Penny's room. Nope. Fitz is used by Fitz to look after a potted flower in Poppy's room. That's not right. An ornate trowel is used by Fitz to look after a potted flower in Poppy's room. Almost. Maybe just... An ornate trowel is used by Fitz to look after a potted flower in Penny's room.
That flower.
Yes?
I've never seen it before.
We need a clue to compare to that flower. Something that proves its connection to Fitz. That's not right. We need a clue that's got some connection. That's not right.
Let's take a closer look at these. The pot and soil in Penny's room matches the pot and soil found in the garden, almost. Maybe just change. The heart on the pot in Penny's room matches the pot and soil found in the garden. Nope. The pot and soil in Penny's room matches the pot and soil found in Fitz's greenhouse. Let me guess. Penny's flower was originally a gift from you, Fitz. There's no way it's a coincidence.
No way what's a coincidence?
The flower. It looks exactly like Penny.
It took me a long time to breed. I wanted the colors to be exactly right.
That's some gift.
Turns out Penny isn't particularly interested in looking after plants. So I go into her room every now and again when she's not there. Water the flower, change the soil, just trying to keep it alive.
That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have.
It's locked.
I thought we
We
were.
are.
What's that thing by the handle?
A big glass door leads out into
There's a little mechanism.
something
That
happened.
must be it. And
I still feel like we made some sort of... Didn't we solve
we did, but the door's still locked. It's a metronome.
Is it a box?
It's supposed. Not sure what those symbols are, though. I did it. What do I
Not
win?
bad. What happened?
A little hatch unlocked.
Anything in there?
Mm-hmm. Part of a photograph.
There's something about something.
Let's ask Poppy about it.
Oh, thank God. Wouldn't want it to be dark? A single... How very...
Yeah, weird.
That?
I thought vampires...
This is a vampire who needs firm support for their little... Ah, yes. Oh, it's a good
It's an eye.
Just a bunch of nothing weird
To
about
you.
that. There's an... You know...
More handwritten sheet music.
Anything in the...
Dresses mostly. I never realized there were so many shades of black.
It's locked.
I thought we
We
were.
are.
What's that thing by the handle?
It made a noise.
I guess that was right. Finally.
Whatever's on the other side better be... It's another little statue, doing a really
He's
bad...
playing a lute.
He's also...
Well, they're not part and they're not headphones. They're earmuffs.
It's a rose bush. Grown apart from a...
The roses are
aren't...
Exactly. Giant stone frog.
Yeah, he's got
Except those aren't snowflakes. They're feathers.
There's something about those petals we found in some...
Let's ask her about it. That's one big dragon.
One very small one. Ah, a little water. Wonder how it's hooked up. A little pond.
It looks... See those metal bars around the edges, too?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. It looks like somebody broke them and then never bothered to...
Oh, good. I'm glad to
Not
know.
all bridges are... More egg statues.
I don't get it.
Well, either are the sculptors.
What do you mean?
An egg has got to be the easiest. It's so relaxed. I might just stay here.
Oh, shut up.
That'd be great.
The door into...
So, only Poppy...
I guess so.
More egg statues.
I don't get it.
Well, either are the sculptors.
What do you mean?
An egg has got to be the easiest.
Mountains.
Nope. They're more like cliffs.
Whatever they are, they go all the... That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do. So I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs. Just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other. I'm still not sure.
Should we take another look?
Let's come back later.